guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and I'm really sorry if my camera kind of shakes during this. I tried really hard to stabilize it, but it's not looking very stable if I'm being honest. If I'm being completely honest, I don't really know what today's video is going to be titled. I kind of just wanted to take you along with me while I Bible study and you can kind of see what I do. By no means am I telling this is the best way to do things. It's just kind of what I do and probably like an accumulation of things I've watched on YouTube. So yeah, feel free to take any of these things that I do as your own, and yeah, so let's kind of get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go through my materials and kind of explain why I use what and what I do with each. So this is my prayer journal. I'm kind of terrible praying out loud. I do best in written word, which is funny because I have a YouTube channel and I do best with writing. So that's what I do first. I like to pray and ask for God's discernment while I go through his word. I have my Bible, and then I have my journal, which I take notes in. So like I can always look back, and for me personally, if I don't write it down, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. And then I just kind of have 3 different colors for highlighting. I might not use this one, but I kind of like to have 3 colors that look aesthetically pleasing to one another, and then a pen as well. So just to kind of go over what we're going to be studying today, I've been trying to do, emphasis on trying, to do the Proverbs challenge, where I do a proverb a day in the month of December, because there's 31 days in December, and there's 31 chapters of Proverbs. And I was doing really well in the beginning, as you might be able to see through my notebook, but then as life got busier, I just didn't make it a priority, and I'm honestly really mad at myself. And if I didn't if it was all up to me, I think I would just be like, we'll scratch it, like we're already halfway through December and I'm only going to be on Proverbs 9. I might as well just restart January 1st. But the truth is, that's not how life is. So I'm going to, from now on, do 2 or 3 chapters a day till the end of December, and just really try to make it count. So if anybody hasn't started it yet, or they started it and they weren't very consistent with it either, don't be discouraged, because you are not alone. Nobody's perfect, and the fact that you're showing up is what really matters. So we'll be starting today in Proverbs 9. Okay, so I'm really upset with myself. I accidentally deleted where I explained the structure of note-taking that I do before I took all my notes and did the reading, but just ignore it, and I'm just going to kind of tell you how I structure my notes. So I write down Proverbs, the chapter, and then the verses that are in that chapter, and then the date. Obviously, I'm really behind on my proverb a day. And for some of the chapters, this might just be my Bible, but there is a title that will go along with it, and it kind of will sum up everything that is in it. I didn't realize that in chapter 9 there's one halfway through, but I didn't worry about writing down the note or the title, because I think it would have chopped up my note process, because I kind of referred to things back and forth between it. So I didn't worry about that. And then as far as things I write down and why I highlight things, I read through the chapter. So I read through chapter out loud, just because I notice that if I don't read it out loud, I don't stay very focused, and I start to think about things I want to talk to Bryce about, or something terrible that happened at work, and I just get easily distracted in, reading comprehension. Let's stay focused. So usually I'll read through it once out loud. A lot of times I'll read through it a second time out loud. And then the third time I go through it is when I kind of highlight things that have stood out to me when I read through it. And I'll either expand on it in my notes, or I will make little notes down here of things that I just want to be reminded of anytime I go through. And I'll write questions down, and that is basically it. And in the next clip, I'll be explaining everything I wrote down. So yeah, take time to read it, and then I'll check back in with you guys in literally just a second. Alrighty, I just finished taking all my notes, so I'm gonna kind of go through with you guys things that I highlighted and wrote down and things that stuck out to me. The first thing that I highlighted was when it says wisdom has built her house, she has carved 7 columns. And then it also refers to Ephesians 2:20-22. What first stuck out to me about this was the fact when I had studied Proverbs 6, they went through and said that there's 7 things that God hates. And I just thought it was interesting that while there's 7 things God hates, the column of his house is also, or the column of wisdom's house, I should say, is built on 7 things. So I didn't know if it was kind of the opposite of these things or what. So I did a little research after I went to Ephesians 2:20, which, let's go there together. It kind of just talks about how we are the foundation of God's house, and it's built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, and the cornerstone is Jesus Christ himself. Wow, I cannot talk. So I looked it up, and pretty sure that there are 12 apostles, but I think there might be 7 books recording the lives of the apostles. Google kind of said James, Hebrews, Philemon, which I'm assuming is Philippians, Ephesians, Romans, 2 Peter, and Acts, but I highlighted this needs to be fact checked. I might just be drawing lines where there's not lines, so take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I am definitely not someone who went to Bible college. I'm just kind of going where I feel led and what my thoughts go to. Alrighty, and then I told you guys about the 7th thing the Lord hates from Proverbs 6. And then as it goes on, it talks about how wisdom has prepared a banquet and, she set the table. And it makes me think of the song where it says there's a seat at the table. And it reminds me of Jesus, the final supper and all those things. And then after Googling, any verses that refer to this, I got Matthew 9:10-11, Luke chapter 15, verses 1-2. And these verses kind of are just an example of how Jesus sets a seat at the table for bad people, people that in the context of the Bible weren't seen as worthy for Jesus to sit with if he truly was the Son of God. So I think that's just a really good example of how God doesn't judge people the way we judge people. I think he sees people's hearts instead of their outside. So I really liked that. And then I noticed that wisdom says, "Come with me to the simple." And then later in the chapter, when they're talking about a foolish woman, she says, "Come with me," or "Come in with me to the simple." Then wisdom to those who lack good judgment says, "Come eat my food and drink the wine I have mixed." And the foolish woman says, "Stolen water is refreshing. Food eaten in secret tastes the best." So I wrote down, wisdom and foolishness may call out similarly, but lead to 2 different destinations. And then going on, it kind of talks about how there's no point in correcting people who are mocking you. And I really took from that, pick your battles. I wrote down, some fights are simply not worth the battle. Learn to pick your battles because we've already won the war. And then as I've been studying the book of Proverbs, I've noticed that it's pretty consistently said that fear of the Lord is the foundation of wisdom. and knowledge of the Holy One results in good judgment. So I just rewrote down, fear of the Lord is a foundation, and then knowledge is what I'm assuming is referring to the Bible, gives you good judgment. And then I also underlined, if you become wise, you will be the one to benefit, and that you are the one who benefits from wisdom. And then when it says, let me go back here, that the woman named Folly is brash. And I just went ahead and looked up the definition of brash, even though I know what the definition is. It helps to take it in plain terms and makes it more applicable. And it says self-assertive in a rude, noisy, or overbearing way. And just to make sure I'm not being brash, I also wrote down that she is wrong and she doesn't even know it. And then I kind of got caught up. I don't know if this is what they mean, but when it said she sits in her doorway on the heights overlooking the city, I wrote down, what are your eyes focused on? Folly was overlooking the city. Are her sights limited? Look to Jesus. Don't become transfixed on only what this world has to offer. And then I also wrote down how when she says, she calls out to men going by who are minding their own business, that you can be tempted even when you're minding your own business. You don't always have to be looking for trouble to find you. And hopefully I explained all that well. Well, that is all that I'm going to be sharing today. I'm sorry this video came out a little bit later than I had planned. I just didn't want to rush through this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. That being said, please like and subscribe for more faith-related content and just content in general. And I will see you guys next weekend. Okay, bye.